I don't really have anything to say. I'm just curious if anyone's going to show up for this. Sitting around on a Sunday night. I'm going to end up deleting this. Hi, Dustin. I'm going to end up deleting this. I'm just doing the stream because I'm sitting at home on a Sunday night, 6 o'clock, turn on the Sixers, figure they're playing the Pacers. Honestly, when I turn on the game before it started, I keep waiting for a loss. So today feels like a loss type game. It was a feels like a loss type game, to be quite honest with you, before it even started. So Mike is in Mexico for a wedding. He's not even here. We weren't even supposed to do a podcast tonight. I'm not even doing a podcast. I'm just doing this because Tyrese Maxey scored 50. And I figured, I should be on here. I don't really have anything to say. Nothing to say. Kid scores 50 points. I jump right on the DraftKings app and bet $25 for him to win MVP. The amazing thing about tonight's game to me, who else is here? I'll take questions. We'll do an AMA. Yeah, it's not even an emergency pod. This isn't even going in the podcast feed. This is just going to be on YouTube, just going to be on Twitch. Just going to be here. I just couldn't believe he dropped 50. So the amazing thing to me is so the Sixers have the reigning MVP on the team, Joel Embiid. So not only was he MVP last year, but the 2 previous years he was runner-up for MVP. Also, tonight, he scores 37 points, has 14 rebounds? No, CJ's not here. Unless CJ's around hanging out somewhere, wants to come up. Embiid has 37 and 14, or whatever the fuck it is, and nobody cares. Nobody says a word because of what Maxey did. So first of all, the 50 points is outrageous. It's absolutely outrageous. You could see it in Nick Nurse's eyes at one point that he couldn't even believe what was happening. So not only was the 50 points outrageous, but the blocks, the 3 blocks were unbelievable. It's amazing to me to be so wrong about a guy that I actually thought was going to be good. I thought he was going to be good. And 2 years ago, I thought the guy was a 6-man, even last year. Oh my God. That is a good pick, a good call out there, Dan. Can you imagine if they traded Maxey for the system? Because you remember the year before when Houston was looking to trade the system, when he eventually got traded to Brooklyn, I think the ask was that the Sixers include Maxey in the trade. I think I'd be lying if I said I wasn't probably in favor of it at the time. And the thing about this, I got a text from Andrew Sharp during the game. He said, wasn't Maxey coming off the bench for some portion of last season? I didn't even remember that happened. Do you know Tyrese Maxey came off the bench last season for 19 games? If I remember correctly, and I didn't look it up, but if I remember correctly, he was starting. He got hurt. DeAnthony Melton was starting in his place. They were playing well. And when Maxey came back, they had him come off the bench. I can't believe it was for 19 games. And this year, he's definitely going to be an all-star. I mean, I don't have the Eastern Conference guards in front of me. He's definitely going to be an all-star. And could he end up being an all-NBA player this year? It's not crazy, is it? That Tyrese Maxey's an all-NBA player? I just can't believe the blocks. The blocks are like he's fucking with us. What should I talk about here? Maxey's 7 of 11 from 3. And actually, this is after a few games where it seemed like he was cooling off from 3. He was still taking the shots. I think he had one game when he was a little apprehensive maybe from 3. He was still taking the shots, but it looked like he had cooled off. I had noticed his percentage went to below 40% for the first time this year from 3. 7 for 11 from 3. Rocco 0 for 2 from 3, Tom says. That's okay. Had a couple of steals, I think. I'm not looking at the box score now. I had a couple of steals. Covington's fine. Every time Covington hits a 3 for us, it feels like a bonus. Like Covington even being on the team at this point is a bonus. So Jack asks if this changes our star hunting. I think we were probably already there before this game, right? I think we're probably at the point where and Morey said this when he was on. We were talking about can Tyrese Maxey be the second best player on a championship team? Now, we've been through all of this long enough to know that none of this really matters until they get to the playoffs, right? Like, none of this really matters until Maxey can prove that he can do all of this in the playoffs. But I think it does have to change the calculus of what you're doing. This team's, are we 8-1? Is that what we are? If this team is the first or the second seed, I think it does have to change the calculus a little bit. But I still think, regardless of however good Maxey is, I don't think it changes the kind of player that you wanted anyway. Right? I mean, you need like an everything player. You need exactly what Morey said when he was on the podcast anyway. So I honestly don't think it changes the calculus that much, because I think they need the same kind of player. They only have one serious trade in them, as far as I'm concerned. So whether you're trading the 3 firsts you can trade now, or the 4 firsts I think you can trade right after the season, and the 5 firsts you could trade after the draft in the summer, I think you only have one big trade in you. And you know what I wanted to talk about on the pod I did yesterday? I had a whole thing in Star Hunting. Where's the Star Hunting music? Here it is. I had a whole thing in the Star Hunting thing about Tobias versus Pascal Siakam. By the way, the worst Tobias game of the year so far. I've never been a Pascal Siakam guy, even though I said he was the guy that I would trade for of the guys we were talking about. He doesn't pass the eye test to me. Pascal Siakam doesn't pass the eye test to me. So I don't know. People talking about Alex Caruso. I asked MOC if he thought that Alex Caruso was a big upgrade over DeAnthony Melton, and MOC said he is a big upgrade over DeAnthony Melton. He said the only thing that Melton is better at is shooting, but Alex Caruso is a significantly better ball handler. Alex Caruso, he says, is the best perimeter defender in the league. But honestly, I would tell you that Alex Caruso is so valued at this point. The Alex Caruso trade, in terms of what you're going to have to trade for him, is going to be similar to what the Bucks had to trade for Drew Holiday a couple of years ago. I know that sounds crazy, but I don't think it's nuts that somebody trades, like, the right team trades 2 firsts for Alex Caruso. And if you trade two firsts for Alex Caruso, that is your trade. That's your trade, I think. By the way, the system tonight, a lot of people are pointing out, Clippers lose by 5. The system is a -28. And I will not allow Daryl to forget, and there may be some revisionist history, but this entire summer, I believe Daryl Morey wanted James Harden to come back. I believe he wanted him to come back. Elliot says to bring back TJ McConnell. McConnell almost won that game for him tonight. I love TJ. I miss TJ. I don't think Daryl is a TJ guy. I think if you go back and you listen to the time that Daryl was on the Ricky when he was president of the Rockets, I don't remember the exact quote, but I think somebody should go back and listen to that. I think at some point during that podcast, Daryl indicated he was not a TJ guy. What else do we have? Wait, where's that? I wish my dad was here watching that game. Our family has still not forgotten what you did for my dad. Oh, thanks. It was an amazing game, especially on a Sunday night too. An Eagles bye week. The other thing that is great about Maxey that you have to give him credit for is that he did the 50 on an Eagles bye week. He knew we needed this today. Who is the ceiling player comp for Maxey? Who can he be as good as? I think any projection that I had prior to this has to go out the window. By the way, subscribe. If you're watching right now, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. Do it right now. Pause for everything. The ceiling player for Maxey. I don't know, man. Like, I would have said this offseason when somebody had, and a lot of people were comparing his stats, and they've been doing it now, comparing it to Lillard. And I would laugh at that, but I don't laugh at it anymore. The thing about Maxey is that I refuse to put any limit on how good he is, because I have put a limit on Maxey every single year he's been here. He can't do this. He can't do this. He can't do this. He can't do this. He's blocking shots a foot over the rim tonight and scored 50. I'm not saying Steph. Absolutely not saying Steph. He doesn't have, Steph is one of the best ball handlers I've ever seen. And Steph is a great passer as well. You can be a great scorer without being Steph. He doesn't have the feel for the game that Steph had. And Steph, by the way, Steph had that early in his career as well. A good point from Ezio, too, is that Drew Hanlon, he worked with Drew Hanlon this offseason. Also, you got to give Maxey credit, even if he didn't believe in Drew Hanlon, doing it because Embiid works with Drew Hanlon. I saw a quote that they were just working on where Joel likes the ball when he's passing it to him. Because, this offseason, Maxey actually, nobody on the Sixers knew, but there was a possibility that Maxey was going to be the off guard, and there was a possibility he was going to be the lead guard, and had to sort of get ready for both of them. And one of them getting ready to be the lead guard was figuring out where Embiid wanted the ball and working out with Embiid. And if working out with Drew Hanlon meant he was going to work out with Embiid, that's what he did. You got to give Maxey credit for that. Let the music on again. You want the star hunting music? There we go. People have asked what this music is. It's the Mindhunter music. I don't know if you ever watched that show, Mindhunter, David Fincher show on HBO. It was amazing. Dominic, that's a really good point. The amount of space he creates with the step back. It's almost like he jumps back like 5 feet. Like he leaps backwards. Honestly, when I'm watching it, I still think he doesn't have the muscle to get it up there. Speaking of muscle, to get it up there. Pat Bev's 3-point shooting days might be behind him. Anyway, I don't have anything else to say. I'm probably maybe I'll leave this up overnight. Thank you for tuning in. Anybody, I'm going to stay on until somebody tells me they put $10 on Maxey for MVP. Somebody go to DraftKings. He's plus 25,000 for MVP. How do I feel about Klay Thompson? I don't want them to trade for Klay Thompson. I think he's cooked. And I also don't think the Warriors will trade Klay Thompson. I don't know if they're going to re-sign him. I assume they would, but I don't think they would trade him. I think they're all in keeping those guys together. Donovan put $5 on Maxey for MVP at DraftKings. Tom put $5. There we go. 25,000. When we did the odds earlier this week, he wasn't even up there. Now he's plus 25,000. And actually, before the game, the Sixers were plus 1,600 to win the title. Let me look on DraftKings what the Sixers are to win the title right now. Futures, Sixers still plus 1,600. The Clippers, how about this, DraftKings? Can you see that? You can't see it. The Clippers are plus 1,500 to win the title, and the Sixers are plus 1,600. I don't think so. I don't think so. All right. That's all I got. I got to go to bed. I got work tomorrow. I got to put away laundry. I love you guys. So I have, what's it called? I have hip replacement surgery on Tuesday. It was supposed to be the 21st, and now it's going to be the 14th. So I will not be on the midweek pod. Hopefully I make it through. Hopefully they do it on the right hip, and I'm back for this weekend. So, somebody's comparing him to Iverson. Difference is, one guy works really hard in the offseason, the other guy doesn't. Just being real. Just being real. All right. Hip surgery on Tuesday. Hopefully I survive it. Tyrese Maxey scored 50. Thanks for watching. To everybody YouTube, everybody on Twitch. This isn't even going to make it to the podcast feed. It's just me rambling. My wife doesn't even know what I'm doing here. I went upstairs to fold laundry. Oh, yeah. By the way, good call, Manu. Kelly Oubre. What a relief, honestly. I woke up this morning, I saw the Woj news about Oubre getting hit by a car. Actually, I'm going to take 5 more minutes here. Maybe I'll play the Mindhunter music. So I woke up, I saw the Kelly Oubre thing, was terrified, obviously, because we didn't know how bad it was. Now we know he's out of the hospital already, and he has a broken rib or a couple of broken ribs and a bunch of bruises. It looks like he'll be back in the facility on Tuesday, and who knows how long. They'll know in a week about how long he'll be out, but I think Nick Nurse said it was better than expected, which is good news. The thing I want to say is, look, I guess that car was speeding, so I don't know what the actual situation was. But we had a gentleman I work with up here in New York, Pat McCarthy, Tom McCarthy's son, who does Mets broadcast for us with Odyssey up here, was running, got hit by a car as a pedestrian a few weeks ago. Now, he was in worse shape, but seems like he's going to be okay. All I know is when I'm running outside, when I used to be able to run before I needed a new hip, I see so many people texting while they're driving, and it infuriates me. And you see it when you're on the highway. You also see people texting while driving. Ever since the beginning of the pandemic, I feel like people are more careless when they drive. It's terrifying. It's really, really scary, not just for me or you, but for your loved ones and all that sort of stuff. So my message to you is do not text when you drive. Look at the road. And if you hit one of the Sixers in the middle of the city, don't drive away right afterwards. At least apologize. Sending love to Kelly Oubre. I'm glad you're going to be okay. Sending love to everybody else. I'm going to bed. Love you guys. See ya.